and you're listening on Oneness Talk Radio. Coming to you live from Tosa Blue Mountain here in Ecuador at the Water Therapy Center. What a powerful time to be alive and awake, like I know you all are. And you made it. Happy New Year. Feliz Año. We all made it. And here we are in the most powerful time, making it through all those challenges of the 2020 energy. Really a moment to really step into our mastery and do all that we can to remember who we are. And a year like 2020 can do that. And it can also send us into a spiral, a downward spiral, an upward spiral, or a spiral that just keeps cycling and cycling. And whatever we're doing it the way we need to do it for the time we're at. And I must say, being here at Tosa Blue Mountain, you'll see me looking around because I'm looking up at the sky and I'm seeing some condors flying out there and some beautiful clouds. In the afternoon hours here, it was a really special time up here where as some of you know that have been here to Tosa Blue Mountain. These blue skies and these green hills are amazing, especially around sunset time, and the clouds are starting to show up and show those really cool shapes that are fun to watch and play with. So yeah, welcome to the journey where we are shattering the illusion together, and each moment is another moment to be awake and to add that good energy or that good vibration out to that collective consciousness that is in the process of rebalancing now. And I know you're all feeling it. I've been feeling it, and it's fun to be in a new year, and we're entering into this 5 energy and the star of truth and the Metatronian energy and that 7th dimension golden spirals and all that good stuff. So here we are with that the big 5 after we've left that year of the still center of balance, where we had the opportunity to really find the balance within the imbalance, and that can be tricky sometimes. And I know as I was leaving the United States to come to Ecuador, I definitely had some moments where I had to trust, a lot of trust. And because leaving San Francisco, that everything was just, with COVID and everything, there's just so many challenging moments out there. A lot of people struggling, and there's a lot to move through when it comes to that density plane. And I know I have a few stories to tell, and maybe I'll just start out with that today, because we're talking about trust here on the program, and as well as truth. We are in the year of the truth chakra, and in order to really to be in that truth of who you are, that authentic being, and be in that truth, which really is a joy to really understand and be in our truth. But in order to get there, we really have to have a lot of self-trust and empowerment. And so this is where the 3rd chakra, right at the solar plexus, and the throat chakra really work together. And so as we're moving into this year of truth, there'll be a lot of moments to just to really look at ourselves, love ourselves more. And as we are loving ourselves more, maybe we could just take a deep breath. I could use one and let it out with some sound. So let's go ahead and go in, hand on heart. I'd invite you to join me for this. It's always nice to get a good breath, especially together. So here we are. The truth chakra. This is really that bottleneck of energy. As I have my hand on my heart here, this is really that foundation of the ascended experience. That ascension portal really opens up by starting with that beautiful heart of yours. And as we are in the heart and are really putting that attention and focus in that area, we really open up. And that's where we can open up and ignite the ascended chakra experience. And so as we do open our heart and ignite, we have this throat chakra here. And a lot of times it can be it's kind of like the bottleneck, that it comes up. We have these double infinite energies around our heart, and then we have this single infinite around the throat, and then it comes up into our vision chakra, and then up into the cosmic connection and the wisdom and the higher dimensions up in the exploded crown and above. And so, yeah, that truth chakra oftentimes can get really clogged up. I noticed, well, I've been here when you're on the, in the mountains of Tosa Blue Mountain, a lot of times most times your energies will really amplify, and things will come up quicker than they would, I feel, and many feel that have been here, that come up because the energy is so high that it just really brings a lot of energy up and things to surface. And a lot of us have a lot of energy in the truth chakra that needs to be cleared. And so there's many practices we can do to clear that area. I noticed as we have been doing some sacred medicine down here, the San Pedro experience was most profound. We harvested a couple weeks ago this really beautiful San Pedro plant, and it was named the Genesis plant because it started out as a small 6-sided plant cactus, and then it morphed into an 8 and got bigger at the top, and it was almost looked like one of those blimps or something that fly through the air. So it was just really, it morphed, into this Genesis. And so we harvested the San Pedro as a group. We have had this really beautiful group for New Year's this year, and we harvested it, and it was just a really beautiful cactus. And we took it with our sacred intention and with lots of humility and gratitude for this sacred medicine. And so getting back to the throat chakra, what I noticed first thing on the journey was the throat constrictions, and almost feeling like, that feeling where you just have something stuck in your throat. And so I noticed that right away, and I felt like that was really just a validation of this year coming and how much energy that we can work through with the throat chakra, and so many things we can clear in that area. Because the throat chakra is all about the truth. It's living our truth, being in our truth. And when the throat chakra is not in balance, it's a lot of times where we have an alignment with belief systems that are really not our truth. And so maybe something that's been fed to us, or over time we've taken on different energies that are really not our truth. And that is part of the density experience. And so as we clear those and we become in alignment with our truth and start expressing our truth, then the energy really flows through this chakra. And right at the throat there, that truth chakra. And what I noticed during the San Pedro journey, because what happens during the San Pedro journey, if you're familiar, maybe you're familiar with the San Pedro, maybe not, this beautiful medicine that we're able to connect with down here and in this really beautiful valley, and we're real close to Paute and Dug, and it's the sacred medicine you see everywhere here. And what it does, basically, what I've noticed, and I've taken maybe 6 journeys now with the San Pedro, and what I've noticed is what happens is that you use the medicine, and then the Shakti energy from the earth, or that feminine divine energy coming up through your feet and then coming into the base at the first chakra, at the root chakra there, or the old root chakra. And it's kind of like, I see it as like this green energy that's just kind of crawling up my legs and crawling up my energy, and then it's going up my chakras. And then what I notice is where I have congestions or areas that are needing more balance, I will notice them and have to bring conscious attention to those areas, whether it's just breathing through it, and things will come up, whether it's hearing something, seeing something, a fear could show up, a little vision could show up. And so, yeah, it was really interesting. I noticed in the past it was more lower chakras. A lot of the second chakra energy was coming up around different energies in the third chakra, and then, over empowerment or disempowerment, control over kind of stuff. So yeah, so it works its way up. And the more you work with your energy, and the more your energy is open and balanced, then it flows much easier and gracefully. And then, so what we noticed this time was just the throat chakra was really needed a lot of attention. And so it showed up right away in the Genesis experience with this. If you're just joining us, we're talking a little bit about Ecuador, learning to say the words right down here, and the San Pedro experience, the sacred mystical plant that really helps us find our truth. And I think that's what's so sacred about it is it's really heart-centered. It's heart-centered medicine that ignites the heart and then allows that energy to flow. And Oftentimes we can really see what's there because, boy, doesn't stuff hide out a lot when it comes to energy and consciousness and density and all the tapes and programs that we've all adopted as we've grown up in the density experience and this almost a subliminal type reality, this beautiful illusion. And as we are able to break through and open up our third eye and our star consciousness, then we can really see and shatter the illusion, right? Shatter the illusion and let it just dissipate and start to see all of it and appreciate the illusion for what it is and what it's taught us. So anyways, back to the truth chakra. This tends to be this point where energy can get stuck a lot. And that's why you have people that, asthma problems and things like that, where this is your airflow, this is bringing in that prana. And so a lot of times congestion can come in through sore throats, lots of different issues that can come in through the throat chakra. So clearing out the throat chakra is a great thing to do. And I admire people that sing a lot, because when you sing, it's a tone and it can really, really move energy a lot. And I am just looking over at the chat here, and I see a bunch of people saying hi and love to Tosa and sending us love and light. Thank you very much. We're sending our namaste, and our hearts are with you all as we are all moving into this beautiful year where we have the opportunity to really, really transcend the illusion and really make a difference right now. And now is the moment. So let's all just step up and do what we do and bring our gifts to the table and just know that we are on track and we are doing this, and nothing's going to stop it. We just keep going and we keep going and we don't stop ever. And so anyways, back to the truth chakra. Sorry if I'm getting sidetracking here, but yeah, just talking about the truth chakra and the sacred medicine down here. We had so much heart conversations, and the group, things came up within the group that was able to bring about some of the things that were stuck in the truth chakra, and really just bring that focus into the heart, because the heart really is that delivers us into that compassion. And I really feel like compassion kindles love, or love kindles compassion. So yeah, we did some great ceremony with the Kenyari. We did an all-nighter, which I was a little nervous about going all night. I'm like, wow, that's going to be a long night. But with the Kenyari and their music and their fires and this beautiful group we had here, I mean, there's several of us that are still here, and some of the people are getting on planes and heading back and bringing so much love and light from this beautiful sacred place on the planet. And so, yeah, working with the Kenyari, we did some really beautiful ceremonies and tobacco ceremony, and there was so much beautiful fire, and we had this rising phoenix that they had made in the fire, and it was just such a powerful night. And we all made it through the night, and we were uplifted, and kind of that tired feeling went away. I mean, it hit us first thing in the morning. We went all the way till sunrise, basically, all night, and just a fire and good company and good music and lots of good heart energy. The Kenyari they're so amazing. They have so much heart and so much compassion, and the kind of people that you meet right away, and there's just such good energy, and it's really a real blessing that we have these indigenous folks on the planet that have carried this sacred heart energy throughout the ages, and through just all of it. It's just, wow. I bow before the indigenous and our sacred mother, that Mother Gaia, that has all these beautiful medicines and things that help us remember so we can heal ourselves and heal the planet. And so, yeah, getting back to going back and forth here with the truth chakra. And so, yeah, the group really brought forward, because in each group, when you're at Tosa Blue Mountain or any community, is the ability to just really surrender and look at your own ego, and to notice how you feel in the face of things that may bug you or make you annoyed. And it just brings up things to be resolved, which is a beautiful thing. And that's the gift of being in community, and all these aspects in each person holds, that is really the key to finding our wholeness as we are in community. What a gift to be with such a beautiful group. So I send much love and aloha out to this beautiful group that was here, and we made magic and still continuing to make magic. And thank you to Sri and Kira and the Self-Ascension community. We do make a big difference, and I see it every day, and I've been seeing it for years, and it really, really does work. And I can vouch for that of someone who's been studying Self-Ascension for over 11 years now, and it has shifted my life in ways that I am completely humbled by and grateful for. Moving from a person that was myself, of maybe just a people pleaser, just doing whatever it took to make people happy around me, because I didn't like having unhappy people around me. And so, but over time, as I learned to empower myself, and now I'm noticing so many synchronicities and so many blessings, and basically everything that I've always wanted is coming true at this point, and continuing to build. And so any of you that are struggling on the journey, as I have many times, and I can tell you from my own experience that if you stay the course and you just keep going, as the angels are always saying, Archangel Zadkiel, you just keep going. And as we keep going, it builds, and we release, and we renew, and we rebirth. And it's an amazing moment. And the more awake we are, the more energy we are able to vibrate out into the universe with that love and light that is being noticed by many from many faraway places and right here on this beautiful planet. So yeah, talking about the truth chakra, really authentic living and being in that joy. Yeah, what a powerful time to be alive. And I noticed just with toning is probably the best thing we can do for our truth chakra. Just talking about the truth chakra here, because it is we are in this 5, and the 5 is that truth chakra energy, and all about the truth. In order to really be in our truth, we have to trust. We really have to have self-trust and be able to build that in their empowerment. And the 3rd chakra, sorry, moving around a little bit here because I'm in a kind of a temporary spot here to do my broadcast at the Water Therapy Center here. If you haven't been to Tosa Blue Mountain, do whatever you can to get here, and just trust that it'll work out. And I know that I wasn't sure if I could go to a foreign country or that kind of thing. And it just seems to work out if we just keep trusting. And so, yeah, the 3rd chakra and the 5th chakra really work together, because we really have to have that self-trust and that empowerment that really will bring us to that point where we can really be in the truth of who we are, because it really takes courage. It takes that empowerment and courage. And really, what is courage? I mean, courage is just a bowing to our truth, and the courage is just there. It's built in. It's just a matter of seeing our truth, and the courage comes. And I know what it takes, and it takes a lot of focus and that steadfast commitment and focused awareness. And then really that gives us that energy that's in our heart, and then brings it up to our throat. And as we sing and tone and do different things that can release the energy in that area, we can really allow the flow, that prana, to move through our body. And as I was talking earlier about the San Pedro experience, I really a big advocate of any kind of plant medicine, psilocybin and San Pedro, DMT, any of those kind of the substances or plant medicines can really, really help us see that. And I know I couldn't see it for a long time. I had glimpses, but man, when you dive into a journey, and things really show themselves. And so, and any kind of meditation, breath work, I know that we were doing some holotropic breathing down here with Sri Ramka. Thank you, Sri Ramka, for your beautiful breath work. Wow, amazing. We had so many people feeling their expanding hearts expanding across this beautiful valley, and so much just expansion and shifting. And I read an article recently about how I was talking about DMT earlier, which can come from like the mimosa tree, I think it is, the bark from the mimosa tree. It's really similar to ayahuasca. I think it might be one of the ingredients in ayahuasca. But just by doing holotropic breathing, there's a practice out there called rebirthing. Maybe some of you've done that, but it releases DMT, and which gives us that expanded experience. And I can vouch for that, doing DMT from the tree bark, and also doing the breath work without any need for any plant medicine, that it just go. it happens, it comes, it's built in. And I think sometimes with plant medicine, it's just a matter of a reminder to ourselves that we are that sacred, beautiful expansionness. And so I think for me, I just needed to wake up, and the plant medicine has worked really well for me to just shook me up, broke me down, and rebuilt me from the ground up energetically. And so what a gift to have that experience. And yeah, so coming back, third and fifth chakra, I want to talk about here today, because the truth chakra is one of those areas that a lot of us get stuck with just so much energy in that area. And that's why a lot of times we'll get these colds and these sore throats and things like that, especially when the energy is amplifying like it is right now, right into that Sri Ram Ka and Master Lady Kira Ra we're talking about earlier in the show today. Just how we're working our way into this up level 13. Of course, it's the 13, that sacred 13. And as we're moving into that, the energy is building and building and building and building. And I noticed that in the chakras, things can get slowed down. And as more energy is going through that area, and as everything's amplifying, things show up because the congestions are there. It's kind of like having like a blocked artery or something, where it's showing up, the blood pressure's going up, the energy's flowing, and being slowed down. And then that energy starts to, we can feel it. We have different symptomology, whether it's sore throat or tumors and throat cancers and all kinds of stuff. So it's good to do our practices, so we don't have to have that experience. And if we do have that experience, then it's often can be a renewal and an understanding. And I noticed on my journey that I had gotten sick in different ways and had, really bad sinus headaches and stuff. And what I realized was that it was just whenever there was really big energies out there, that it would, as the energy would amplify, that my headaches would increase, the sinus, third eye headaches, which affected my sinuses and my eyes, and also affected by what we eat. Of course, what are we putting into our bodies? What kind of energy are we putting into our bodies? Whether it's our shallow breath or our deep breath, or is it are we eating things, nourishing things that are full of sunshine? Think of like a mango or a peach or just something, a vegetable, a squash or something like that. It's in the sun all the time, so it's just filling up with that beautiful light. And so eating sunshine, eating that source energy can really help bring more light into the body, as does plant medicine and breath work and meditation and countless other things we could mention here that help us stay lifted into that higher frequency. And I know that talking about higher frequency, I know that once we really are able to have the courage to lift and to bow before our truth, that's where we can start trusting, and that's where the optimism comes in. And then we keep going and we up level. And then the next thing we know, it's forgiveness and understanding and bliss, at the top of the consciousness chart, the David Hawkins chart, and telling us about how to move into frequencies that are of a higher range, higher, lower. I know those aren't always the best words to use, but we got to use some kind of word to talk about how we lift up and from different frequencies, levels. And so, yeah, the throat chakra is really one of those areas that a lot of us most get stuck on. And so clearing that area out is a good thing. We definitely been doing a lot of toning down here, and we have some singing. We did a lot of dancing on New Year's and singing, movement, doing that movement, get the body moving. I know, especially with on plant medicine journeys, I like to do a little bit of yoga during as it starts moving up the chakras, and just move the body, get the energy flowing. And that goes for life in general. Man, any kind of movement practice is great especially for the third chakra. Any kind of movement is just going to be a really good thing. Even just a walking meditation, taking a walk, a nice slow walk, and really just being present with each step as we walk. And Sri Kara had taught many years ago at the Avesa trainings, which they're going to be doing a lot of Avesa work all year, the Avesa balancings and the crystalline Atlantean healing chambers. and many more that I don't have in front of me. But they're going to be offering so many great programs this year. So how exciting in such a big year about truth and realignment with who we are and what we're doing here, and to have the tools to do that. So I highly recommend joining us for some workshops, and it's going to be an amazing year, and I'm super excited. And just the fact that we had a year, that we could really hit some hard, challenging times, and to be able to know that we can walk through these things, we can walk through this kind of energy. And speaking of walking, just walking with the master, a nice slow walk, really paying attention to each step that we put down on the beautiful earth, and just being so gentle as we do that, and just feeling the master within us as we do that. And I'll never forget I think it was the first Avesa I did back in New Mexico with Sri and Kira. And that was one of the things we did, is walking with the master. And I bet they'll talk about that in the Avesa classes coming up this year. And walking with that, your true self, the master within, and just taking each step. And so I know I'm talking kind of fast here today. I think I'm just kind of excited about being here and connecting with all of you. And I'm going to try and slow down a little bit here. But the third chakra, a great thing is a walking meditation. And isn't that what it is? Once we really work on being awake, and our life becomes a walking meditation where we've really foundationalized the peace. And as we foundationalize peace, we really are able to be in that love space, because we have peace. We have peace within our core, and we know peace. And then we are able to lift into that love and then that joy. And so to walk with that kind of presence is a walking meditation, because we're in that space of surrender and love. And it makes a huge difference in the world when we're emanating that beautiful joy and that peace and love. And, rather than, as for myself, as a young man in my 20s, frustration, anger, part of the journey, great. And as we can move through that, we offer a great gift to the world. And that's just the emanation, the amplification of our energy and our healed energy and that wholeness within. So I'm grateful that we all can find that place, and we all have it, and it's right inside of us, and it's our true nature. Third chakra, it's really about self-trust, empowerment, and just trusting who we are. And and I know for many of us, it's a challenge to trust who we are. And it's just a matter of keeping going, and practices that really help, like walking meditations or having a daily movement practice, whether it's Tai Chi or yoga. If you go to the Mastery app with Sri and Kira, you'll find the Sacred Yoga, which I've done many times. And that's a great way to really get into that space of that peace, love, and joy, and that expanded energy. It's a breath work. It's yoga. It's subtle movements. It's presence. So check that out. And walking meditation, I mentioned that. I was taking a look at my notes here. I made a few notes for the show today. And just really, really being in the body. And another good thing for third chakra is just practicing when you do something, just really finding the good in it, rather than beating ourselves up with the whip or whatever, whipping the horse or whatever. It's like, if we can just really just focus on the work we've done rather than what we haven't done, it really ignites our self-trust and our empowerment. So the third chakra, we really get into that self-trust, and that really can ignite our truth. And of course, with the heart chakra, having that love energy, that foundation, that beautiful emerald and gold energy that emanates from our heart chakra, and really lift us up. Just talking a lot about, each week I like to talk about maybe a chakra or two, and also like a stillness moment, where I talk about, a moment that, like an aha moment, or where something shifts in the environment, or something just takes you back, whether it's a cloud or a tree or a flower or a moment. And it could be in traffic, or it could be anywhere, in the city, and all of a sudden everything just kind of like stands still, or your energy or your focus just shifts, and you see, there's so many different ways to experience what I call like a stillness moment. It's just things stop and the perception changes and there's a noticing. And so I just want to share a story, and it's really about trust. As you know, a lot of us are scared to travel these days because we have this, this COVID-19 that's just a very challenging thing to deal with. And so basically when you come to Ecuador, you have to get a test, a COVID test, and you have to have a certain kind of test. And my stepmom came with me on this trip, and we were both leaving Hawaii, and we got our tests done and everything and prepared everything we needed to do and got ready. And she was at the San Francisco airport, and she calls me on the phone and says they won't let her check in to the airline because she doesn't have the proper test. And so I start panicking a little bit. I'm like, oh no, what am I going to do? Do I have the right test? And they want like a PCR test, certain type of COVID test. And the doctor that we went to over in Hawaii didn't really do that kind of test, we weren't clear enough, I think, on what the test needed to be. And so we got to the airport, and so we started doing some searches, trying to find out, there we are at the airport. We got 3 or 4 hours. We just got some time to kill at least, and trying to get a rapid test somewhere. And it's the weekend, and like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? And so we went back over to where the check-in was at the airlines, and the gentleman let us know that if he lets us through, that it could cost the airline $7,000, a $7,000 fine if we get to Ecuador and they have to turn us back. And so basically I checked in with a friend of mine sent me a text, let me know about the embassy and the rules in Ecuador, and that you actually can fly into Ecuador, and that they'll give you a test on the spot. You're gonna have to be quarantined. Could get a little bit complicated. So we just basically really just sent all of our heart energy to this gentleman that was, telling us that we wouldn't be able to check in, that we can't fly until we get a different test. And so he starts doing a little research in his computer, and he ends up finding the Ecuadorian rules, and we just sent him lots of heart energy and a little bit of charm. And next thing you know, he's checking us in. Everything's going fine, and we were able to get on the plane, and we were able to relax. And it was a moment to trust. To really, and we, I was calling on the angels to watch over us and be with us and to support us, because we were having one of those moments where it was like, oh boy. But it could have easily gone the other way if we would have panicked and just let our minds run amok full of fear. It could have gone a totally different way. We could have, sent a bunch of scared, fear, angry energy at this gentleman, and he wouldn't have helped us. But he wanted to go the extra mile for us, because we were in our ascended place. We were in our peace and our love and our joy, and just knowing that all is in divine perfection, and keeping our eyes on the divine is really where we were. And that's one of the steps of self-ascension, is keeping your eyes on the divine at all times, and all is in divine perfection. And so those two, holding that space, we are able to actually co-create a reality in front of us that will benefit us and help us move, keep moving and flow. And so that's what happened. And then to make a long story short, we got into Miami, and we got in line to get onto in Miami to head for Ecuador. And they were looking at everybody's tests getting on this plane. And so I was like, oh shoot, we don't have the PCR test. I started having a little bit of that head chatter, and there was this lady behind me, and I wasn't really super worried, but then there was this lady behind me, and she kept saying, and I hadn't even talked to this lady. And this lady was like, she's like, you have to have a PCR test. You have to have a PCR test. Last time I tried to get on a flight, I didn't have the right test, and they wouldn't let me on. And then my mind started to attach to it a little bit, like, oh, what? Okay, are we gonna be able to get on this plane? And then my stepmom's like, ignore her. She said it twice, and that was enough for me to go, oh yeah. And so she helped me keep my eyes on the divine. And that's what's so beautiful about being in community and with people that are on that same energy wavelength. So all it took was that moment to just come right back to the center right here, and remember that we are co-creating, and miracles happen as we co-create with love, peace, and joy. And so that we got on the plane, no problem. We got into Ecuador. A couple people got retested. Didn't have the PCR test, and we just kept trusting and sending light and love to all these people that were checking the tests, and they let us right through. They barely even looked at our paper. They were just really great, and I mean, they saw that we had a test and saw the negative everything, but they didn't even put our luggage on these scanners or anything. And it was just, to me, it was just that, it was that moment to trust and to be in the truth of who we are, and that authenticity will deliver us where we need to go, whenever. And so, and it was really a confirmation of like, you're in the right place at the right time, and to just trust and keep going. And so, and that is the truth of who we are, is that authenticity, and that really that expression of our own truth, and that knowing that that's what we are. We're these co-creative beings that are co-creating a reality with, there's 7 billion people on the planet. And as we know, it's been a reality that's dominated by, fear, and there's lots of love out there, but it's time to tip the scale, right? And to really get enough of us that are awake that we can bring in that balance. And so in a world that could use a lot of balance right about now. And so I thank you all for being here. And I was looking over at the chat, and I could see Masha, Jeanette, and Kimberly, and Midge, and Dia, and Bria Rose, and they're all here and probably down in the kitchen right now making some amazing food. Thank you so much to all of you, and our beautiful our Tosa angels here. So when you come to Tosa Blue Mountain, you get treated like the beautiful being that you are. And so I thank all of you for making it all possible, and Sri and Kira and the Self-Ascension community, because together we're better. We are all amplifying this beautiful energy right now, and we'll make the difference. We'll help with the rebalance. And so here we are in this moment. And so coming back to the truth chakra, seem to be really on that, because the truth chakra is one of those chakras that it takes a lot of dedication and a lot of self-awareness, witnessing the witnesser, to really pull up and out and look, and that 10,000 foot perspective. And that's another practice that's great, is to come up to 10,000 feet, close your eyes and rise all the way up and put yourself up on a mountaintop or up in the sky, way up there. And we're pretty close to 10,000 feet where I'm at right now. And just bring yourself to that place and just take a breath, and then look down at your life and have that ascended perspective to really see all of it, see the big picture, and see that it's not as complicated as it seems when you're all the way down in the bottom and everything's just hovering over you and you can't see anywhere. And then you rise up way up above and you sit on that beautiful lotus or cloud and soaring with the birds in the clouds. And then you just look down and everything's a lot more peaceful, because you can see all the connections and more of it. All the dots are connected in realizations that when we're above it, we can see that there are solutions and that are beyond what our mind could have possibly understood. So yeah. Yeah, so I'm laughing because I'm having fun here. Getting a little dark here. Good thing that Bria Rose turned on the lights up here for me. Thank you, Bria. And yeah, so the fifth chakra, all about authenticity and joy and just being in the truth of who you are, living your truth, being your truth. What are the words that come out of our mouth? It's important to pay attention to what we say, because our words are our declarations, and that's what's so powerful about like the mantra of self-ascension. I am here, I am ready, I am open, guide me, and these are powerful declarations that deliver us to that creation that we all crave, and to be able to just be unlimited. And I know that's something that's come up for me a lot lately, is just wanting to be in that space, or knowing that space of the unlimited, endless, infinite expansion, that we all have that, it's built into us. We are those beautiful light beings of these Merkaba ships that can just can go anywhere, anytime. And it's just a matter of remembering that. And so getting that fifth chakra in alignment will really bring the energy up from that heart, which is that, call it an engine, call it an ignition point. And as we all know, or a lot of us know, that the focus has been the heart. Get to the heart, get to the heart. And it's really a place to really start and to ignite and to bring that up through into our visioning and into our wisdom and into the higher dimensions, and the fifth dimension and seventh dimension, and and way out there into the infinite, really, dimensions. So yeah, unlimited. And being able to have the unlimited capability to just co-create. And as we are awake and we co-create with that unlimited, think of how many people we could help and just the things that are possible that we can do in a world that's so ready for us to be that in our truth. And so it's a big moment. And really the truth chakra is all about seeking to really know what is true for yourself at any given time, in any situation, and to really anchor that. And so toning, singing, great things to do for the throat chakra and to release that energy so the flow can move. And so, yeah, and really being in that vibration in the truth is a really important place to be, especially now when there's so much manipulation and a lot of density energies that are quite the opposite, and those need to be there, because otherwise how would we know the difference and the contrast? And I've noticed that that's really a big key, is just having the contrast to know the difference. If we haven't had that experience of the opposite, then how can we really appreciate when we do move into the truth and into the love and the joy and all these things? And so to appreciate with gratitude that we are able to have both experiences, and then when we really can really truly have compassion when we've had some of those challenging experiences. So any of us that are probably all of us that 100% of people that have had to move through challenges, and that's just part of being on the planet in this earth school. And so to really move through those experiences and have those experiences, we get to have that compassion, and that's so helpful for other people, to be that authenticity, that that authentic example, and to really be able to connect and say, I get it, I've been there, I know what that's like. Here's something that I've learned. What can you teach me? And we can teach each other, and that's what's so beautiful. And that we have all these sacred mirrors in our lives, and it's just a moment of just getting the stuff out of our eyes and out of our third eye, and then so we can really see what's truly there. And at the base of it, it's love and light dancing. It's a marriage of love and light, co-creating a reality. And we get to play. We get to be awake and play in this beautiful energy. And I'm just blown away by how much a community and what can happen when we are co-creating, and we are on that, what I've called the awakened conscious creation, where we're just awakened and co-creating the consciousness that we would like to see in the world. And that's our words, that's our declarations, that's our movement, that's our thoughts, and a lot of times thoughts can just run away and we think, oh, they're not doing anything, but actually they are perpetuating energy and amplification, especially in a world that is constantly up-leveling, and energy is each individual is becoming more powerful energetically, because the energy is just on full bore. What's the word for it? Just amplification is the only word I have for it. So each individual amplifies whatever energy is there, and that shows how powerful we are. And I've been feeling a lot of just really taking responsibility is a good thing to do, because we become, as Sri and Kira say, response able, to be able to respond rather than react. And the old models react because we get triggered, and we have lower chakra stuff that will have us react, and that's just part of the journey. But when we do respond, wow, we don't take things personally. If we can work on those things all the time, everything around us is in more harmony when we do that. And I remember early on, I just couldn't believe it, that it could be that simple. How could it be that simple? No way. The mind's like, no way. But really, in my observations and my time, with self-ascension and waking up, it is really the truth. It's really the truth. It really is that simple. And it's just a matter of aligning ourselves and continuing to practice being in those states of peace, love, and joy. And we have plenty of tools. And if you're lacking any tools or feel like you need it, go look at selfascension.com, and then look in the practices section. There's plenty plenty. And one that I recommend, the container practice, of course, and that's just basically being able to just things that we get stuck in our chakras, especially the lower chakras, we can really just have a way to cleanse it or vacuum cleaner it out, and send it back to the recycling, or the angels into a container where that can be cleared out. And so we just let it go into the container. So check that out. I imagine a lot of you listening to this are pretty familiar with the container practice, and it's something that I do most often. A good way to clean out, and that way we can really have that flow of energy, like I was talking about. Especially if you've been doing breath work and yoga, plant medicine, then the energy flows, and that's when the miracles happen. Because once it's flowing, then there's no stopping, there's no limitations, there's just infinite expansion, and that's what we are. We're infinite expanding light. So, and it's been proven to me enough times where I've been hit over the head enough times to finally go, okay, I can do this. All right, it could be that simple. I could adjust my consciousness. I can, allow my mind not to have all the judgments that go on and analyze things to death. Like a lot of us have learned in density, in order to survive, you got to analyze everything, right? But when the heart chakra is ignited and we are able to rest that part of us that just the critic, the inner critic that just goes on and on and on, and to rest that and to reside in the peace and know that we take responsibility for our own energy. And that's the key, is to take responsibility and to own it, to own whatever's there. It's okay. It's just things that we've taken on, in a world of that is predominated by, not predominated, but is just basically run on fear. And it's just a matter of releasing that and loving ourselves enough through that process and not judging that. And so, yeah, it is a beautiful time to be alive, living in that truth chakra. And that's really what is, knowing what is true for you and learning that. And I know that doesn't always happen right away, and is a process. And for some of us, a snap of a finger. All of a sudden, it's like, boom. I think that's what's true about the plant medicine, is it just shows it to you. It's like, oh, bam, hits you over the head. And you're like, whoa, I got really scared there for a while. Well, why was I so scared? What was I afraid of? And for me, it was like the fear of dying. I was afraid to die, right? Or transition, or and so they took me on the journey, or the plant took me on the journey and showed me, okay, here's the edge, here's right at the edge where you move from one dimension to another. Is it really that scary? Yeah, and the body says yes, it is scary, but then the soul knows the way, and knowing that the transition is just another doorway, it's just another opening. And that's something that the San Pedro really taught me, is to just breathe through it, relax into it, and if you took a big dose like I did in the first time, it just takes you right to that edge, right there. It's just sitting right there, and you have a choice to breathe. If we learn to breathe through these things and to just trust that we are light and love, and that what our mind might tell us is this or that or scary or that, it's just really just more illusion, and of course we have to protect our bodies, and the ego is great at that, and that's what the ego is designed for, is to navigate through this world. So, and I often thought that I had to kill my ego, to be awake, and what I've realized is just a softening. Just soften the ego and relax it a little bit, and put it, like Sri and Kira said, put it in the back seat, give it some toys, give it something to chew on, give it a bottle, let it rest back there, and let the soul sit in the driver's seat and take you through the next experience. And it really makes a difference. And so, yeah, so celebrating again, the fact that we are able to have this kind of information, and that many of us out there in all these light communities and the indigenous around the world, and these folks that have had this information for a long time that's been hidden or protected, is coming out now, and there's no stopping it. It's perpetuating, it's amplifying, it's moving, it's beautiful. And so I encourage all of us to just stay on track and never give up, because I know some of us have been on the journey for 40, 50 years, and that's amazing to me. And you see a lot of people giving up, and I get it, because it sometimes it can be tiring. and moments where, and that's what's so crazy about it, is that like you get to that moment and it's the hardest moment, and there's thoughts in the mind of like, God, I can't do this anymore. I'm just tired. I can't do it. And then a day later, an hour later, you break through, and you continue to climb. And then you look back and you go, oh, and you have that 2020, right? Hindsight 2020, right? And so you look and then you're like, oh, wow, wait a minute. Okay. And then if we build upon that, that's what I've noticed on my journey, is I just keep building upon that. It's like, oh, I trusted. And then I look back and I'm like, oh, if I wouldn't have done that, if I wouldn't have trusted, then I wouldn't be at this place that I'm at now. And this is the most amazing experience so trust in the truth of who we are is what will get us there. And that love energy. And that was what's so powerful about the Kenyari, this, on the day after New Year's, is there was so much heart energy. And that's what the San Pedro, really offers, is that ability to just let everything else drop. And then what's left, right? Love is what's left. When everything else is gone, torn down, destroyed, whatever, created and destroyed, like that Shiva energy, what's left? It's love. That's what's left. That's what's left when we are completely torn down. And who's the one that's always there for us? It's for me, with the San Pedro journey, when my first San Pedro journey, I was completely broken down. I was completely surrendered. And what was there for me? It was the mother. It was that divine feminine that was there to just pick me up and say, hey, it's okay. And that's that love. And I'm not saying it's masculine or feminine, but I am saying that a lot of times, or that the divine feminine is that nurturing, that acceptance, that love, that inclusiveness that has helped me remember who I am, and the fact that to just have respect and love for all beings, and love is what's left when everything else seems to be, the illusion is completely, where you're sitting in the shadow or wherever you are, and love is there. Light and love are still there, even though we may not think it's there. It's just there. It's there to hold us and deliver us to that next experience. And so stay on the journey, and know that we are in a big moment, and your energy matters so much, so much. And I'm grateful for every single one of you that has continued to say yes. And as all of us come into that circle of love and light and hold hands, we transcend the illusion, and we create the new earth. It's already here. It's already done. We just have to keep on co-creating with each other. And so I think that's it for me for tonight, and so glad. Thank you for joining me. You're listening to me, Corey, The Journey, on Oneness Talk Radio, and we are shattering the illusion, and there's so much behind that that's waiting for us, and we're there, and just keep going. And I'll just have to say aloha, namaste, until next week. Have an amazing week, and know that your energy makes a difference, a big difference, and you are so important. You're never alone, and thank you for being on the planet. Namaste.